It may look sunny now, but we are getting ready for a huge storm. I think this is a great weekend to settle in, get cozy, and read a good book or two. Let's see what I'm choosing for this weekend's reading. Hi everybody, it's Gina here at the Library Mouse, and yes, we are getting ready for a big winter storm. Yes, I'm a little excited. I love huge snowstorms. With a caveat, I don't want a mid-range snowstorm where people are still expected to go out and drive around because then everyone is in accidents. But I love like 2 feet of snow. Just shut everything down and make everybody stay home. I like that. So we are planning for a pretty big snowstorm this weekend, and I am prepping for it with some books to read. I was going to go to the library, and then I decided I'm not going to the library. It's freezing. That beautiful sunny landscape I just showed you, it's actually 13 with a feel of -6. So I don't want to go anywhere. So I'm choosing from the books that I have that are not boxed up. And I'm going to be trying to find some books on Libby to go with Ellen's Diversity Book Bingo. But first, the surprising news is that I've actually finished 2 books already in January. I can't really say already. It's the 22nd, I think. But I have finished 2 books, which is my goal. I dropped my goal from 6 to 2 because I've been having such a hard time focusing on reading. I think I'm back in the game. So let me show you what I've read. Let me show you what I'm reading. And let me show you what I have planned to go along with the book bingo that I already own. Okay, I'm back with the goods. First book that I finished in January of 2026 is The Sweetie Sisters by Leanne Dolan. I would probably give this book 3.5 stars. Actually, though, I think in Storygraph I gave it 3.75 stars. It was good. It kept me intrigued. It kept me reading. Obviously, I finished it, which says something. It is about 3 sisters who are somewhat estranged, and their very famous author father has just passed away. Their mother had died many years before. And the girls are coming together, the women are coming together to go over his assets and find a memoir that he promised his publisher. And in the midst of this, the girl next door, who they've known, comes forward, and she's just found out through a DNA test that their father is also her father. And it's about how the sisters come to terms with obviously accepting this new person into the family, but also coming to terms with what their father did with the next door neighbor, and how he could do it and betray their mother in the way that he did. So in that way, it's very good. I think that I would love, I think with multiple viewpoints, you get a watered down version of what people are feeling. And I really would have liked this maybe to be from one sister's point of view. I prefer that, but it was still good. It was still good. And then an excellent book is Free Water by Amina Luckman Dawson. This was a John Newbery Award winner, I believe in 2022, but don't quote me. Well, the book was published in 2022. It is historical fiction, and it is about Homer and Ada. They are runaway slaves. They're younger. He's a teen. His little sister is like under 10. And they run away from the plantation where they were living, and they are found by a community of escaped and free slaves, and the community has been built in deep, deep into this swamp. And they have intricate systems of how to get into the swamp. And while this particular place is fictional, it is based on many of the communities that were built from and by runaway slaves, escaped slaves, and the children that they had there, which were born free. And it's such a good book. This is also told from multiple viewpoints, but the depth of writing is so much more detailed in this book. I can see why it was a John Newbery winner. I would have read this book to my fourth graders. When I taught, I loved to do my read alouds to match my social studies units. And so we always did an Underground Railroad unit. And we talked about slavery because, you know, close to us is Rochester, New York. And so many abolitionists were from here. And our town was on the Underground Railroad. And Susan B. Anthony was buried here. And Frederick Douglass was buried here. So it's just, I loved that connection. This is such a good book. Even if you are not into like middle grade or young adult fiction, it's worth picking up to read. And I don't know if you heard that, but I need to check out the cat fight going on. Okay, everyone is still alive, so that's good. Now, for Ellen's Diversity Book Bingo, I will link it below if you have not checked it out. One of the bingo spaces is unreal. And I am taking that to mean that what happens in the story could not happen. This book I am reading is not a genre that I generally read. If you've been around here long enough, you know I'm not a fantasy reader. But something intrigued me about this book, and it is The Enchanted Life of Adam Hope. It is by Rhonda Riley. So I would say that this genre is magical realism. It is the story of this, she starts out a young teenager named Evelyn, who when she's 17 basically inherits a farm from her aunt. And her family, it's in the 40s, and her family sends her to the aunts to work the farm. They're like, well, you're the one, you like this farm, you need to go and take care of it because we need the food that it provides. So she packs herself up and goes down, you know, a few miles away to live on her aunt's abandoned farm. So she's taking care of this farm, and one day during a huge torrential rainstorm, she goes outside, and in the mud, she finds a man buried. But the man is very odd looking. She is not quite sure if he's human at first, but then she realizes he's more like a baby in utero, like with half-formed, hello Henry, half-formed ears and half-formed eyes when she pulls him out. And he doesn't have any clothes on, and she drags him into the house, and day by day he changes. And it's as if he goes through the stages of being in utero, and then a baby, and then a toddler with like little teeth and a little toddler head, until he eventually becomes an adult. And that's strange enough. She keeps him a secret. But this man actually becomes a woman first. He becomes like her likeness. And then he becomes Adam. And if you kind of get the gist of it, her name is Evelyn Eve. His name is Adam. I just am enjoying this book so much. It's very lyrical, very It moves along quickly though, but you really, really like connect with the characters, and I am just enjoying it so much. I don't want to give too much away, but it is such a good book. So on the back, it says, "The Enchanted Life of Adam Hope is a strange and powerful hybrid work that's part Alice Munro, part Gabriel Garcia Marquez, and entirely marvelously itself. In her debut novel, Rhonda Riley has written the most resonant and touching love story I've read in a long time." So it says it's a somewhat biblical love story with a wildly imaginative premise that is irresistible, tender, and provocative. And I definitely agree with that. So this is definitely one book that I am continuing to read during the snowstorm. If you know me, you know I love a good Jennifer Weiner book. And Patty, the cat and the dog are just messing with each other. The only trouble is they get carried away with each other. This was on a TBR probably like 2 years ago, and I have never read it yet. And I love a good Jennifer Weiner book. This is called The Breakaway. It's about a 33-year-old named Abby. She does gig jobs instead of a career. She has an apartment that she's lived in since she finished college. And she's a bicyclist, and she belongs to a bike club in Philadelphia. She's at peace with her plus-sized body, and she's on track to marry her childhood sweetheart. They met at a weight loss camp that her mother forced her daughter to attend. So 15 years later, Abby reconnects with half his size, Mark, and finds out that he still adores her, and it seems like fate. But there's something that's not quite right. She's called to lead a group bike trip from New York City to Niagara Falls, which I feel like is kind of cool because I live in New York. And so she's dealing with like her plus size body, the fact that maybe Mark isn't the person for her. She's leading this bicycle race. It sounds like a pretty cute little rom-com. Speaking of rom-coms, last night I watched The People You Meet on Vacation. I am not an Emily Henry fan, but I have only read one Emily Henry book, and that was Book Lovers. It was okay. The People You Meet on Vacation remind me a lot of When Harry Met Sally. But I watched the movie. I have not read the book, and the movie was super sweet, and I loved every second of it. It was so cute. If you just want something light and mindless to watch, it's just, it's adorable. Maybe I should read the book. Maybe I should give Emily Henry another try. I don't know. But I think I'm going to read The Breakaway. So I am a person that I do read multiple, or I always used to. I always have multiple books going at the same time because I'm a mood reader. And if I'm in the mood for this book, I'll pick it up. But if I'm in the mood for this book, I'll pick it up. So that is what I am going to be working on this snowstormy weekend. So if you are going to be stuck inside during the snowstorm, tell me what you are reading. I think I might also do a little weekend vlog. I don't know how exciting it would be, but I think I might. So anyway, that's a little reading update, and I will see you again on the next video. Happy reading.